Aw, snap, you already know, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different from what I normally do, because I'm going to be messaging with my girlfriend at the same time. Normally, I don't message with my girlfriend during videos, but it's during bedtime, which is the time where my girlfriend and I send messages from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. each day to make sure that we're spending some quality time. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. What this video is about is Tales of Old. Tales of Old is a sentient AI pseudo-random prototype that your boy Tyler Hall, aka Kratos, is working on. If you guys want to learn more about Tales of Old, definitely make sure to hit up his YouTube channel, Heart of Cards. This is the third version of Tales of Old, and this is the latest update video premiering right now, and I'm about to react to it live. This video isn't live, but this premiere is live. So I'm going to be seeing it as it's revealed for the first time and talking about it. So let's read through his summary real quick. Hello everyone, my name is Tyler, aka Heart of Cards, and I am presenting version 2 of the prototype of my project, Tales of Old. This is a pseudo-random prototype using random number generators to determine the outcome of each play. Eventually, the pseudo-randomness is to be replaced by a sentient AI capable of thinking and feeling, as well as being consciously aware of his choices. Version 3 introduces a debt system, bounty system, new enemies, and a full combat system. I'm very excited about this combat system. It makes a huge difference. This project will be continuously updated with more options and ways the story can progress. Please let me know if you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions about the future of this project, and as always, thank you for watching. Cool, so now it's time for us to start up the video. That was perfect timing.
Hello everyone, this is Tyler, back again with another video. This is another video for an update of my Tales of Old.
Now in his description, he should say that he's presenting
if
version
you've
3
previous videos about the
to match up with the title
and Tales of Old project, I definitely recommend you check those out so you can see the context of everything going on. But this is the third update.
I also recommend that you guys check out the previous Tales of Old videos and Tales of Old reactions if you want to hear my commentary.
And it is huge, and I'm really excited, so I am just going to jump on into it. So there's a couple things that I have changed. So I did create a little Trello board just to kind of show off everything. So we had version 1.
I like that. I like that you made a Trello board. This is like a very nice visual for the audience, for us to be able to see the differences between each version.
3 different factions and the ability to spellcast. Now version 3 is the biggest one. So I changed the stealth stat to dexterity because it fit more. I changed the shady contracts to assassination contracts.
I like that you changed it from shady to assassination, because I didn't like the use of shady contract. It was too vague.
If you don't have enough money to pay for something, there's a chance that you'll basically have to owe the vendor, and you'll go into negative gold, so you'll be in debt basically.
Now, changing stealth to dexterity,
the more crimes you do and the more debt
I would have to see why you're changing it to dexterity.
And if your bounty is high enough, a bounty
like is the stat now used for new things?
A bounty hunter will actually show up. Now, moving on from that, or continuing on with
the bounty system seems to be really building upon his active events he likes to have, where if a condition is met, an event will trigger, which I think is cool.
When you're hunting, you have a chance of encountering a wolf, which will trigger combat. Now, if you beat the wolf, you'll get wolf pelts, and you can sell those wolf pelts for more money.
Okay, so now he has a pelt system. I have a pelt system in my medieval fantasy sentient AI, Project Camelot. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already.
So when you try to steal gold from someone, or you try to fight someone, you try to steal, like from the blacksmith.
I have my eyes on Beth's messages. Make sure I don't miss anything.
Any of those situations, it could trigger a fight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the logs.
Oh, yeah, he's showing the logs on Google Keep now.
These are all
I dig it.
These are all with the new combat system. So the first one, I call it Messy Contract. So I tried to attack someone for gold. And this is one thing that I changed as well. Instead of mugging someone, you just try to attack someone for gold. And then eventually I even changed that some more to I just try to fight someone for gold. So all that just sounds a little better. So I tried to
Cool.
fight someone and he didn't stand
This is
a
like a
chance, so
minor
I
change that all
my
kind of
bounty
means
was
the same
increased.
thing.
So in this case, my combat roll was high enough for me to succeed without having to go into combat or get into an actual fight.
Now, it's interesting that your
But my
bounty is
bounty stat
increased just because you
increased.
fought
Now
somebody.
at this point in the
Is
log,
there
I
no way
didn't
to
have
like
a
fight
bounty actually
someone
display, but later on I
in
did.
such a way to where your bounty doesn't
So
increase? I guess if you don't kill
next,
them,
I
they could
am
always
trying an
tell on you,
assassination
so
contract. This
your
time I
bounty
get
would go up
caught
if you
and
were
the
told
target
on.
is attacking. So here's where combat starts. So the target pulls out a sword and raises it, intending to kill me. I try to attack using my combat skills. So I patiently wait for the enemy to get closer, and then I strike when it's in range. I won the fight. So all of that was random. So you'll see when I get to the actual coding for everything, but the action you do is random. Whether or not you
Now, why does it say
succeed
the enemy launches
in
its
using
attack
those
after the
combat
fight's
skills
already
is
been won, though?
random,
That doesn't
and
make sense.
what kind of happens is random. So you'll see that later on. So these fights, and you'll see in these logs as well, these fights could go so many different ways. So then it will show
I
you
do
the
like the
stats and
concept of
how
like a
it was won.
dynamic combat
I
system,
fought him.
but it seems like there's something wrong with that one line.
So I won the fight, and then I tried to eat whatever venison I had, which was none. I got caught pickpocketing. Even though I got caught, this person didn't try to fight me, but my bounty increased, which again is not showing up there.
Interesting. So he's saying that sometimes
And then
you'll
actually at
like
this
end
point,
up in
I
a
didn't have
fight
the bounty
from trying
hunter
to steal, and sometimes
implemented.
you won't.
This was just right after I added the combat system, but the bounty system was not fleshed out at this point. That's why it's not really complete. So I caught stealing food. My bounty increased. So one thing you'll notice is I took out the fact that if you get caught trying to steal something, the guards take away all of your gold. That's not a thing anymore. So you still get to keep all your gold, but if you get caught doing some kind of crime or get caught stealing, your bounty increases instead. So you don't lose all your gold for getting caught. Your bounty just increases.
I'm glad that you no longer
So
lose all your gold, but I kind of wish that the guards still like approached you.
and then got
I've
caught
always wanted there to be
stealing
like a
food,
charisma
and
stat in
my
this, where
bounty
you could try and
increased.
convince the guards
So
to only
really,
take
the
half your
reason I
gold, or
hate
try to
this
talk
one
your
is
way
just
out
because
of
it
it.
showed off the combat here. It was a messy contract, but I did end up succeeding, and eventually I died because I never slept. Here's that one.
Goodness, yeah, I
This
mean,
one I thought was
that is
interesting.
how the AI
I called it
is.
"Why He Kill Himself," though, because everything seemed to be going pretty well for this character. So I steal a weapon.
Pseudorandom
Sell
AI
the
is so
goods I have.
unpredictable.
I stole a book,
Once it becomes
and then
sentient,
got me enough.
it's like
to
easier
be
to
able-
read through the
That
consistencies
got
in the
me enough
story.
to be able to.
So this one's a
get
magic-based
into
one.
mages.
That's gonna be cool.
So I become a mage, and I learn how to cast spells. So I go hunting.
Oh
I
wait,
can't
has
find
he come up with
anything.
new
I learn
spells?
some
That's
more
been the main
spells,
thing that I've been wanting to
and
see.
then I tried an assassination contract. I succeed. I try a supernatural contract, which is like the intelligence-based contract.
So for these supernatural
I try to
contracts,
attack
I think it
someone
would be
against
really
a
cool
chance,
if
like
you
some
could
gold.
like, because when I think
Tried to
supernatural
use magic
contract,
on
I think like a deal with
So
the
like
devil kind of
him
thing.
doing
It'd be
great
really
with
interesting if
magic,
he made it
the
where his AI
intelligence
could
at
interact
15.
with demonic
I'm great. Everything's
NPCs.
going
They could give them
perfectly. My
access
mana
to
is at
additional
11. I'm
spells,
good.
but it made them
So I try to
infamous,
hire a rogue
where other
trader, found
NPCs
one,
are
learn
naturally
some
more
magic.
aggressive to them because they've made like a demonic
I
pact.
steal a weapon,
I think that could
and
be cool.
then here's where the bounty system comes in. So my bounty is high enough for a bounty hunter to appear. So a bounty hunter appears to collect a bounty for your head. The bounty hunter pulls out a sword and raises it, intending to kill me. I am trying to attack with a spell. With a flick of my hand, spikes of ice erupt from the ground, impaling the enemy. The enemy tries to attack me, but it was blinded by rage and missed. I took no damage. So
And then the enemy just dies,
right
and then you
brought
win.
his health
Okay.
down to 0. So
That one made more sense.
So that was really cool. And then immediately
Than the
I get
first
faced
one.
with another bounty hunter. So he pulls out a sword trying
Wait,
to kill me.
how
So
do you
I
get
try
rid
to
of your
attack with a
bounty?
spell. and a blast of blinding white lightning leaps from my fingertips at the enemy. The enemy tried to attack me, but it was blinded by rage, blah, 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 and I won that fight. And then I learned
Blah, 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 blah.
and then randomly I decided to end my life. So that's why I'm like, why he kill himself though? Because everything was going good. His intelligence was at 21. He was unstoppable. He was like the.
I keep forgetting that Kratos has those really high stats for like everything.
Wizard. So this one I picked out because this was actually a really long run. So on Google Docs, this run filled up 8 pages. So I call it Long Live the Wizard because I basically become a wizard. The formatting there is a little weird.
The formatting does look weird. It looks like it gets better as you continue down the document, but the top of the document looks like the borders got all fucked up.
Survives for a really long time.
See, the longer stories I think are really interesting for the sentient AI, because that means they're making like really good choices and thinking through their lives.
Oh no, this was after I added the combat. So you can see right here, by now my intelligence is at 19.5.
Oh, and they decided to end their life. They didn't even die of natural causes. So it just randomly made a lot of good choices, and then at the end was like, fuck it. But you can't blame it when it's just picking at random. Essentially, the pseudo-random versions of all these AI are just playing Russian roulette, where the sentient ones, they choose whether or not they actually want to like pick the one with the bullet.
Never had a character survive, and this is after I added the combat system, which is really saying something because the combat system can be pretty brutal sometimes.
Do you have an example of a brutal combat system?
Really interesting. So.
Because we get to see the character lose in combat yet.
But I came up with an idea to like fit them together so well. So this story I call The Wolf. So I tried to hire a combat trainer, and then I work. I steal a book, it works. I try to go hunting, I can't find any deer. I sleep. I try to buy a book, but I didn't have enough gold to buy a book. Tried to go hunting, but I encounter a hostile wolf. The enemy snarls at me, ready to attack. I focus on the enemy's next attack, so I can use my speed and agility to dodge it, minimizing damage. The enemy launches its attack. When I try to dodge it, I stumble, leaving myself open. The enemy damage. Then I focus on the next attack, so I can use my combat skills to parry the attack. The enemy launches its attack, but my timing is off, so I was unable to parry. So then I
doesn't look like it's going well for the main guy.
The enemy launches its attack. I move as if I am moving. By the time the enemy attacked, I was well out of the way as if I teleported. I took a
down. Hey, now the guy's getting the upper hand.
Then I focus on the next attack to try and dodge it, and when I try to dodge it this time, I stumble, leaving myself open. The enemy damaged me.
Oh snap!
Fatally wounded. So that is the wolf, because this was the first combat encounter with an actual wolf.
So, does the AI ever have the option to just dip? I noticed it was like, I dodge and I fail, and I try to dodge and I fail again, and I dodge and I succeed, but then I dodge and I fail. Like, can the AI actually, like, just dip? Like, is there an option for them to run away? And if so, would that be like a dexterity check?
The character in this story is the brother of the main character in the next story. So
Kratos putting up this head cannon.
Fell on the wolves. So I tried to attack someone.
Trying to connect their lore.
Was not as defenseless as I thought. He attempts to fight back. So he raises his fist ready to fight me with the intent to kill. I focus on the attack so I can use my combat skills to parry. The enemy launches its attack. My timing was perfect. I parried the attack at the last second, avoiding all damage. Then I try to attack.
Seems like some martial arts stuff.
And agility to my advantage. So I feint my attack, causing the enemy to react too slowly as I slash it up close with my dagger. Then I focus on the enemy's next attack to try and parry it. This part was kind of buggy, but basically I missed.
It does look
So I
buggy.
didn't parry it, so he actually did damage to me. Then by now I have fixed that bug though. So then I focus on the next attack to try and dodge it. So this time it was blinded by rage, so it missed. So I didn't even have to dodge it.
So we missed.
So then I try to attack it again, but in my haste to get close to the enemy, I stumble and I miss the opportunity to attack. So then the enemy launches its attack.
He's like, I don't stumble and I miss. I stumble and I miss the opportunity to do anything.
To try and dodge it. Again, it was blinded by rage. It missed. So this time I try to use my combat skills. So I pick up and throw a rock at the enemy as a distraction before I run in slashing my sword at the enemy. Then it tried to attack me, but it missed. And at that point, my sword attack did enough damage, so I won the fight. So
nice.
I go hunting. And then
shit. Why go hunting right after you fight?
Then I go hunting and I encounter a wolf. So
wait.
This is the same wolf that killed this character's brother.
Doesn't their health hit 0 here? But then they're at 0.5?
Unfortunately, I miss it. Again, there was a little
see what's going on here.
Show me actually missing it, but I did miss it and I lost the fight. My health is like at 0.
It is 0.
Because my morale was high enough, it gave me half a point in health. So
what?
I was barely able
this is some anime bullshit. But my morale.
So like if I take any damage at all, I'm dead. So I'm very wounded. And then I somehow hire a rogue trainer. And
yeah, it's like he essentially like must have like passed out. Wolf doesn't just eat him, wakes up, and then he's like, I need rogue training.
Impressed by my speed and agility,
and he's able to join the Nightfall Guild. Oh, is this whole story gonna be him trying to get revenge on the wolf?
I want to join them and become a true rogue. So
he becomes a rogue so that he can kill wolves. That's such a very random plot idea, but I like it.
Excuse me, for joining a guild, which is
interesting for a random story, to be honest. Like it seems like it had like a kind of lore going. It's one of those things where if this was a sentient AI, you'd be like, oh, that's cool as fuck. You'd be like, this is like an interesting progression.
And I join their guild, and they like bring me back up to full health. So now I fight for the Nightfall Guild. So I steal a new weapon to get my combat stat up. I try to buy some food, but I don't have enough. And I also don't have enough to buy a book.
He keeps trying to buy things, but he doesn't have money. That's a part of the randomness for you. Sentient AI would be like, I need to stack paper, so I don't have money.
And here I go hunting again, and I encounter a hostile wolf.
So I imagine he's gonna whoop the wolf.
I try to attack.
He has hella health, even if the wolf is like, just going in on him. He has 6 health. The wolf has like, what, 1 health? He's probably gonna kill the wolf. He got the Nightfall bonus. Which, by the way he spells Nightfall, it's like the Batman event where Batman got his back broken by Bane. So that's all I ever think about with this.
This time my timing was perfect. I parried the attack at the last second, avoiding all damage.
Yeah, so he ends up ending the fight with 4 health, but he started with 6. So he got hit a couple times, but then just get the enemy and that's game. Oh, the enemy did have more than 1 health. I just realized.
I basically go hunting some more, find some deer.
See, that's one thing that's interesting. Kratos is like, there's this cool arc where he almost gets killed by a wolf, but then he becomes a rogue, and then he gets revenge on the wolf. And then I notice he's going through the rest of it, and he's going like, and then some other stuff happened. Because he's like, after I got past the wolf plot, it's like, and now he's just living a life, I guess.
The enemy tries to attack me, but it was blinded by rage and missed.
And missed.
And me stabbing.
That's a Game Grumps joke, by the way. If you don't know it, look up "fired" and I missed. I'm sure if you type that in, it'll come up.
Hunter appears because of me stealing and tries to collect a bounty.
Wait. After all this, he dies to a bounty hunter.
My timing was off, so the enemy did cut me down.
He had a pretty interesting story until his life became fairly mundane.
field.
Like, the coolest thing
And
that
he
ever
was
happened
like,
to him is that he
I
almost
encountered
died
a
and then
wolf
came
that
back
killed my
and got
brother,
revenge on the
and
wolves.
I get
And then the
super
lamest
close
thing
to
that
killing
happened
my
to him
brother,
is
but then
after having
he like
killed a
saves
wolf in a
me,
badass
and
battle
I fight
and
with the
joined
Nightfall
a
Guild,
rogues
and I
guild, a
actually
random
go on
bounty hunter
and
rolls up
kill a
and
couple
Boba Fett's his
wolves
ass.
in the name of the Nightfall Guild. So I thought that story was really
My gum has
interesting. It really
become
showed
powder.
off different parts
This is
of
always a
combat.
bad sign.
I think I forgot to, yeah, so there's one log that I unfortunately forgot to save that showed off some of the like magic combat. But you'll be
Aww.
able to see
Well,
that
I
when
mean, we
I
got
go
to see
to
one log that had some cool magic combat. We got to see like a light attack and an ice attack. I'm
so
trying my
yeah,
best not to
that was
swallow
really
any of this powder
interesting.
gum, so I
How
probably sound weird.
the two
But I
stories
just have the
end.
powder
And
gum
the
right at the
reason I
front of my
paired
mouth.
these up is because these two stories, the wolf and the night fell on wolves, happened back to back. So these two stories happened back to back. So it was really interesting.
I mean, I see you trying to do that headcanon, Kratos. It would be possible with a sentient
So I
version
added a couple new stats,
to run
and
the AI,
Horde stat is
like read through
hoarded,
its
Parent
adventure,
stat
and
is
then after it
paranoid, Dodge
dies, you can
stat
make the
is
next
dodge.
AI
So these are
be
the
aware
defensive
of what the
stats
last
for
AI
when you're in
did
combat.
by
So if you
including
choose the
lines at the
defense
beginning
option,
that teach
then
it
it
about what
will
the last
be
AI's life
hoarded
was like and give them some kind of
for
relation. Like, that
magic,
was my
parry
friend
for
or my
combat,
brother
and
or my
dodge
mom.
for
And then maybe it'll change the way that they live their life. That
I
could be
also have the
interesting.
wolf pelt stat
This powder gum sucks.
and in combat and enemy. So in combat, that's a boolean, so you're either in combat or you're not. And then the
Oh, and
enemy,
that's
this will
how
select the
it
enemy
makes
type,
it
so
where
you can
each
fight
loop
wolf,
you can be
peasant,
just
bounty,
fighting.
assassin
It'll
type,
be
or bounty
boxing.
hunter.
Okay.
Obviously, I
I
have it
was
set up
curious how
that
that
way
worked.
for me to easily add more enemies as I please, so that's why I have it as a variable right there. So the first line here is, oh yeah, also there's a stat for, there's a stat for enemy health and bounty.
Wait, is enemy health not dependent on the enemy type?
So one of the first things that I have here is a random event. So if your bounty is above 0, so if you have a bounty,
Also, I'll
it
be right
has a
back.
1
I'm
in
gonna spit
6
out this gum.
chance of a bounty hunter appearing. And that will basically trigger in combat. And what it also does is it makes choice equal -1. So
Let's talk
that
about the
way,
bounty
instead of
system.
having it you actually take an action, it
If
just skips
bounty is
over the
greater than
actions
0,
to where
happens
the
equals
combat
random
is,
int
and you
1
just
through
skip
6,
the
so he
reaction
rolls
and
a
just go straight to
d6. If
combat.
happens equals
Just
4,
that's the way I
bounty
have it
hunter
set up for the
appears.
random event.
Why
It'll make more
4?
sense later.
Why 4 specifically?
Now I have, here's where the debt thing comes in. So if I try to buy some food, there's a chance that, or basically if I have less gold than 0, but I still hit the roll high enough, then it will say I didn't have enough gold for the purchase, so I owe money, I am now in debt. So basically anytime you make a purchase for a service or you pay a vendor but you don't exactly have the gold available, it will tell you, hey, you bought the thing, but you're in debt now.
I mean, the debt system, it doesn't seem like it's new. It just seems like now the game straight up just says you're in debt, where before it didn't do that.
So here is an example right here. I tried to attack someone for gold. So if you succeed the combat roll, then he didn't stand a chance and you take some gold, but your bounty increases. If you fail the combat roll, then it will trigger combat.
It's bedtime.
So same thing, in combat equals 1. So then when it moves on, it'll start off the combat. So those are kind of the main additions there. Also in hunting, here we go. So when you try to go hunting, there will be a 1 in 4 chance of you finding a wolf instead. So now we'll go back to the actual combat.
And then we can see all the combat branch variations.
Oh, here it is.
when I spat out the powder gum, some of the powder's like still in my mouth,
Oh
which
yeah,
kind of
also,
sucks.
there's an option to pay off your bounty. So
Oh, you
option
can pay off the.
21, you
That's what I
try to
wanted
pay
to
off
know.
your
I was like,
bounty
how do
if
you
you
get
have
rid
enough
of your
gold.
bounty?
You do so. If not, then you don't. So here's where combat starts. So if in combat equals 1, then it will basically detect, okay, so what enemy am I facing? If it's enemy 1, then it's going to be the wolf, and I'm going to say the wolf snarls at me ready to attack, and the wolf health can be any number between 4 and 6. If it's enemy 2,
Okay, enemy
it's
health is
peasant, so that's
rolled.
like if
That's
I
what I
decide to
thought.
fight someone for
That
gold
sounds
or
much
something,
better than having
then I will
static
use
enemy
that
health.
one. Blacksmith, that.
Excuse me.
The target pulls out a sword trying to kill me. The bounty hunter pulls out a sword. So that's basically like establishing who you're fighting
So the
and what their health
blacksmith
is.
pulls out a sword. If you try to rob the blacksmith, he can
So
box you.
then
He can be like,
your
"Hey, I
game
got my
starts
best
with a
sword right
warning.
here. Trying
So
to steal
while
something,
in
you about to
combat
catch his
equals
blade."
0, then it will kind of detect. So first, if you're in the order of the Fae, it will give you the spell casting options. If you're not in the order of the Fae, it'll give you only the non-spell casting options. So the reason I set that up, and
Oh.
this is actually something that I kind of went out of the way to set
Yeah,
up,
Kratos asked
and
me
I
about
did
how
so
to do
even
this
from the very
before,
beginning
and I
to
didn't know
avoid
why
it.
he wanted
But
to be able to
basically,
do this.
I have it set
But
up
now
to
I know.
where everything to do with magic will not show itself to you unless you are in the circle of, or the, yeah, in the
You know
order of
what
the
would have
Fae.
made what Kratos is trying to do like
Like, for
significantly
example, the
easier?
mana stat
Because he has this
does not
weird
show
thing
up
where it's like,
unless
so the
you are a
full
mage. So
spectrum of
supernatural
attacks is
constructs,
1 through
conjuring, food,
6,
magic,
but
although
non-magical
everything to
stuff
do
is
with
like
magic,
2 through
don't
5.
it just won't pop
What
up
if
for
all the
you
magic stuff was
as a
just
available
outside of
option
the range of
unless you're in
normal
the order of the
attacks
Fae.
by being
The
a
reason I did
higher
that is
number?
because I didn't want
So
it to
then
get
normal
ridiculous where it's like,
attacks
oh, you have
could be
items
like
to use magic,
1 through
but I don't
3
know
or
any magic.
something,
So
and
I
then
wanted to
magic
avoid that,
attacks
and I wanted
could
it
be
to
4 through
kind of,
6.
if
So if you're
was kind of
magical,
playing through
you
this or
only
if you're
get,
like
well,
reading a
sorry, if you're
book
magical, you get
and
1
you
through
don't know anything
6.
about this
But
and you
if
think
you're
you know
normal,
magic,
you just get 1 through
then
3.
you
And then
don't
you don't
even
have to have
know
this
that
weird
magic
breakup thing
exists,
where
and
it's
then all
like
of a
if you're magical,
sudden
you get 1 through
either
6,
the
but if
mages
you're
guild
normal, you
approaches
get
you like,
2
hey,
through
we want to do
5.
some magic, and then it
This is
just
just like
opens
a
up a whole
weird
new
setup.
world
And it's
of
based on
magic
how you
that you
pick to
didn't even
make
know
the
was there
numbers work.
before because your
Because
intelligence
magic clearly
and
is
intelligence
options
stat wasn't
1.
high enough before.
Wait, magic
So
is options 1, 2, or
that's the
3?
reason why
What?
I took the extra step and went out of the way to basically remove all
Magic is
magic
1, 2, or
unless you are
3.
actually capable of doing magic. So, which you're
But
only
the
capable of
but the
doing so
normal
if you're
people is
in the
2
order
through
of the Fae.
5. How does that logic work?
So that's what that's for. So basically, if action, also ignore what I have set up here where it says like if action 1 or 2 or 3. It's basically there are 6 different actions you could take. You can either
Right.
attack with magic, attack with combat, or attack with dexterity, or you can defend with magic, defend with combat, and defend with dexterity.
That's cool. I like that.
So if you are able to attack with a spell, it'll roll a check um, with your intelligence to see if you actually hit that. So if your intelligence is high enough, then you succeed. And then it also checks if you have enough mana to even cast a spell. If you do, then it will. So there's 4 different spells you can do, and it's chosen at random. Either palm outwards, I fire an arcane blast at the enemy. I throw a magic fireball at the
While
enemy.
he's reading
Blast
those,
my
I'm going to
flashing
try to
light
spit out the rest of the
shoots
powder.
fingertips at the enemy, or with a flick of my hand, spikes of ice erupt from the ground, impaling the enemy. Or if you didn't have enough mana to cast it, then that. But if you fail the initial check, then you move your hands in the complicated gesture I've been practicing, but nothing happens. I must have done it wrong. So it's
Okay,
like
I'm
you
back.
need more practice with magic. So then if you try to attack with combat, then there's basically 4 different results for each one. So for combat, if you pass the check, then you can either charge at the enemy and powerfully swing your sword
Let's
down
see.
for the head,
Kratos said, basically, I
or charge at
temporarily
the enemy
changed the if
swinging my sword
statement to
wildly
all
range
the
until the
ors
perfect
for
stun,
testing purposes.
or I
He said,
patiently
I
wait
have
for the
changed
enemy to
that
get
since
closer,
then.
then I strike it when it's in range, or I pick up and throw a rock at the enemy as a
I
distraction before running
change
in
the
slash
if
sword.
statement to all the ors.
But if you fail the check, then you swing your sword at the enemy, but you miss
I think I
completely.
missed something. I missed something that he's talking about.
Then fighting with dexterity. So this, you try to fight using your speed and agility. So you can either dash behind the enemy, stabbing it in the back with your dagger.
So there are
or
like
feint your attack, causing the
6
enemy to
different
fail,
actions you
slowly
can
roll
do,
slash with
and then
dagger.
like 4
So I secure your
variations to
speed
each
slash
action.
blindly at the enemy with the dagger before it can
That's
move,
actually really
keeping
clean.
the
I like
enemy
that. That
away.
actually introduces
Or
a
I
lot of
stay out of
variety.
range of the
So that's
enemy and
like
I throw a dagger
24
at them,
different like
successfully
action
killing them with the
possibilities
dagger.
during combat.
Or in my haste to get close to the enemy, I
That's kind of
stumble and miss the
nice. I
opportunity
dig
to
that.
attack. That's
I don't
a
know what he was talking about with the
advantage.
ore thing.
So then
That
there's
did throw me.
defense.
I
Defense
think
with
I was too
dexterity. I
distracted
focus
by
on the
when I
next
went to
attack,
go
so I
spit
can
out the
use my
gum.
speed and agility to dodge it, minimizing damage. So this is where the dodge and the defensive stats come in. So first it says, hey, is dodging equals 1. So hey, I am trying to dodge. Then it'll roll a check to see if I successfully end up, or it basically rolls a check to see if I am able to dodge. So if so, then it will add a random number between 1 and 5 to my dodge stat. So that'll come into play later. So the combat skills, the combats one is trying to parry. So is parrying equals 1, and then it adds 1 through 5 to my parry stat. And then defend with magic, I prepare a warding spell to shield me from the next attack, is warded 1. And then this one does check mana as well, so if you don't have enough mana to check or to cast a spell, it'll tell you. Otherwise, you'll set it up and it'll add either a random number between 1 and 8 to your warding spell. So what I did decide to do is make magic a little more powerful than combat and dexterity, just because magic is 1, more difficult to get into in the first place, and 2, it requires the mana resource. So
How is magic more difficult to get into in the first place?
So
You
magic
get a
is a lot
book.
harder to do. So I made
It seems like you just read in this world.
worth the difficulty by increasing how powerful it is.
Now, I do think the mana option is a nice balancing
so
act. You know, you
all of
spend
that is
mana.
your turn.
How do you
You
get
turn,
mana
and
in this
then
world?
The enemy attacks. So if the enemy health is greater than 0, then it will go ahead and attack.
I imagine when you join the magic
So
guild,
rolls
you
an
gain more
attack.
mana.
So it will basically roll a check, and the modifier is ward plus parry plus dodge. Because remember, whenever you're shield or warding, parrying, or dodging, it will add 1 through 5 or 1 through 8 to these stats. And you'll see later on, it'll only be one of these at a time. So that's why I can just add these together, and that's the modifier. So if the roll is greater than the check, that means the enemy hit. So if the enemy was able to roll above what my stats were, then it hits. Otherwise, it misses. So if the enemy hits, then it will give me, either way, it'll take damage. So I'll take damage between 1 and 4. So the fact that I take damage doesn't change, but the message does change depending on what happened. So either my warding spell failed, my timing was off, so I couldn't parry, or when I tried to dodge, I stumbled, or if I didn't try to defend. So if I didn't try to defend at all and I just attacked, then I left myself defenseless and the enemy damaged me. So now if the enemy missed, it will either be because my warding shield worked, my timing was perfect, so I parried it, I moved so fast that the enemy just completely missed.
That one's the ultra instinct one. Dodge too strong.
Or defend at all, then the enemy tried to attack me, but it was blinded by rage and missed. And then at the end of each turn, it resets my parry, ward, and dodge stats. So it resets that, and then it prints off your current stats. So these are only combat stats, so it does not show you all of the stats that normally.
I noticed that during combat it wasn't showing all the other stats, and I was curious why. That makes sense.
Mana, combat, dexterity, intelligence, morale, and then enemy health. So if at the end of the turn, if your health is equal to or below 0, you lose the fight and you're fatally wounded. But if the enemy health is lower than or equal to 0, then you won the fight and you gain a reward based on what enemy you fought. So if you were fighting the wolf, you gain wolf pelts. If you're fighting the other enemy, you'll get a certain amount of gold based on the difficulty of that enemy.
Wait a minute.
And then at the end of each turn, outside of combat, your bounty will increase if you have a debt. So if you
have debt, your bounty goes up?
Debt, then your bounty will increase by 1.
I guess that makes sense. It's someone being like, "You owe me money. I'm sending somebody to kill you if you don't pay me back."
Hunter and have to fight. But when you do actually, if you face a bounty hunter, well, let me play that back. So if we look at the rewards you get for winning, for beating the bounty hunter, you actually get gold equal to your current bounty times 1.5. So
interesting.
So you gain some gold if you actually defeat the bounty hunter, and then of course you can use that gold to pay off your bounty.
But you don't have to.
If you select that choice, which is the option 21.
It's optional to pay off the bounty with the gold.
So let's see. I think that's everything.
Well, hold on. It seems like the logic of that is messed up. Because the bounty hunter attacks. Well, your bounty goes up if you're in debt. But if you have more money, whether or not you pay off your bounty, then you'll be out of debt, and the bounty hunter won't track you down anymore. Is it assumed that you pay your debt back if you earn the money? I guess so, because it's the only way that you could get out of negatives. So never mind, that logic works out.
Future of this project. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this project. I've been working on it.
I'm hyped. I'm glad that he's been vibing with it. It's nice to have somebody else that I can like talk to about making like these sentient AI projects. Not just Tyler Hall, but also like John Mason, and a few of my coworkers are showing interest in it. So I'm hoping that soon there'll be like a vibrant community of people making these sentient AI prototypes. I'm pretty hyped about that. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to Tyler Hall's channel. Head over to Heart of Cards and smash the subscribe button. Right now he's at 20 subscribers. My boy's doing the work of the future. But I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. There's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black the One Only, logging out. Thank you, Tyler Hall, for sharing this video with us. Chickadee guy.